Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Your Friend David, and with this show I'm able to openly discuss my own personal issues or anything else on my mind in hopes that it will encourage you, the viewer, to feel more comfortable doing the same as well. And I hope you've all been doing very good. This episode's coming out a lot later than I thought it was going to. We thought we were going to have one out the first week of January, but some serious stuff happened in my life, and with this show I'm able to talk about it and hope that you feel more comfortable talking about it yourself, because what I went through was one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through in my life, and it has to do with my mental health, and I'm going to talk to you about that and talk to you about the importance of making sure you're healthy and being able to talk to, not, I do this is kind of therapeutic for me. I do go to therapy as well. When I started this, I wasn't, and it's really important to be able to talk to people about what you're going through, because I struggled with that towards the end of December. I'm just going to get right into it. Wednesday, December 27th, I'd gone to therapy, and I had a breakthrough. And what that means is that I finally opened up. Some of the feelings I'd been suppressing for a while came out in that session, and it was very important and meaningful to me at the time. But what I didn't realize I started doing was I just started overanalyzing everything and started overanalyzing other people and their problems, and tried to relate it to me too much and tried to help and change too many people all at once. And when you do that too much too fast type business and you have a lot on your own plate, you just start to struggle really hard. And I just became paranoid and delusional, and just wasn't even me. If I could relate it to anything, maybe you guys could understand, was think of 50 First Dates, where this person wakes up every day and just doesn't, I just lost sight of who I was, what made me me, and I was just uncomfortable around my friends and family, and was just paranoid that I was gonna get hurt. Not hurt myself, but paranoid that I was going to die, or that I was going to cause my friends and family to suffer. And I started having really bad panic attacks. And on December 30th, late into the evening, I went into St. Mary's on my own accord, because I wasn't doing well. And from there, they didn't find anything wrong with me physically, and they didn't know what was wrong with me and didn't know what to do. And at the time, I wasn't really conscious or making any decisions wisely, or I wasn't able to think clearly. I was not thinking clearly. I was not in a good state. And, I was given an option to sign myself into, and willingly, voluntarily sign myself into a mental hospital, a Brooklyn Behavioral Hospital in Fort Washington at the time. I was completely unaware of everything, and I couldn't recollect a lot of this stuff until recently. But I signed into that hospital, and the first couple days that I got in there, December 31st, early morning, between 3 or 5 in the morning, I was in such a bad state, they couldn't fill out any of the paperwork for me. They sent me up to a unit, C2 unit. I met some good people while I was in there, but the first couple days I was there, and another thing I'm going to talk about later on into this video is I signed myself into a mental hospital voluntarily, and I was still paranoid and confused and unclear there for the first 3 days there. They had me taking some medications while I was there. And, at the time, when I first got there, they wanted me to take a medication called Ativan. And I was so confused, and I didn't know what it was. And no one was really explaining things to me in there. And that's part of the reason why the first 3.5 days I was there were terrible for me, because I was still in that paranoid, confused, unclear state. And no one sat down and tried to explain to me. I just felt trapped. I felt helpless. I was alone. I was secluded. I didn't have my phone. I didn't have my friends. I didn't have my family. And when I was already in that state, combined with I'm now in a new setting, a new environment where I'm closed off from the outside world completely, it didn't really help much at all and made things worse the first couple days I was there until I started cooperating. And I didn't start cooperating because I felt better at first. I started cooperating because I wanted to get out of there. And I want to talk about now that this facility, I went in there voluntarily, and I was very argumentative. Most people know me. I'm not too fond of authority figures to begin with. Combine that with just extreme paranoia and confusion, and the first couple days there I was not well. But people that go, I want to talk to people that might not be doing mentally well right now, or have had suicidal thoughts in the past, or maybe issues with drugs, because those are the type of people that were in this facility with me, where the conditions that we were subject to and the way the staff handled a lot of things, I thought at the time were maybe unprofessional or just downright wrong. And someone who wants to better themselves or is in a place where they're not okay should not be subject to those types of conditions and surroundings. And it's not going to help anybody. It's not going to make anything better. And I wasn't comfortable at the time with anybody or anything in that facility. One of the things that makes me paranoid, I'm going to tell you guys, because so you can try and relate or understand. The day I went to St. Mary's, it was snowing worse than it was supposed to have on the 30th, and I was supposed to go to work, and I wasn't feeling well. I wasn't capable of functioning. And, I texted my boss and asked if they needed me, or I couldn't come in. And then my aunt texted me to tell me to come over for dinner. And at the time, I wasn't sure if I had work yet, but immediately following that, my boss texted me back, "Oh, we're going to be closed." So just really convenient things started happening that at the time I just felt we're all connected, and we're all just, I wasn't thinking about them logically. And, my aunt and my cousin came in from Brooklyn to spend time with me, and she's like, "Come bring a Monopoly board and play some Monopoly." And the board I picked, it's still at my aunt's house, but the board I picked was the new token lineup that I got on my birthday this year. And I picked that board. I took it to my aunt's house. From my aunt's house, I went to St. Mary's. From St. Mary's, I went to this facility. And, I got there at 4 or 5 in the morning, so I just went to sleep. And as soon as I woke up on December 31st that morning, I walk into a common area, and there's 3 brand new Monopoly boards, the same ones I brought to my aunt. That didn't help me at all. That made, of all, I have 30 plus Monopoly boards, and the one I choose to bring to my aunt's is the newest one, and they happen to have 3 of the boards there, brand new, unopened, when I get to this facility. So I just thought everything was pre-planned out, and just, again, confused and paranoid, and it was tough. They prescribed me some medication to take following my discharge from the hospital. It was called Risperdal. I was diagnosed there with unspecified depression, I should say, which, I was diagnosed when I first went into intake for my therapy back in October, unspecified depression. I've been going to therapy, and I've been doing well. But they were giving me medication for paranoid schizophrenia because I guess at the time they didn't know what was wrong with me. What I should say is that while I was there, my psychiatrist, I was there for 9-10 days. My psychiatrist that was assigned to me only saw me for maybe a total of a half an hour or 45 minutes. And he was the one responsible for my discharge. And I started cooperating, maybe I got there on a Saturday night. I started cooperating by Wednesday or Thursday. And he was gone the weekend, and the whole weekend I was doing well, doing what I was supposed to. I was fine. And I was discharged that Tuesday after the weekend. But, he saw me for half an hour, 45 minutes, which isn't enough. That's not enough time. And there might have been a lot of people on my unit, but there was 3 doctors there divided up to treat and talk to each person that was there. And, I had to seek out my psychiatrist to talk to. I was there on multiple occasions. He was not open to talking to me. I don't know how he does his job normally, but, maybe he didn't want to deal with me. He just shrugged me off, and, that doesn't help either. Like I said, no one really sat down to explain to me the facility or anything that was going on there, and just made a lot of it worse. But I made it out. I've been doing better since. I've been back to work. Not as much as I like, but I'm getting there. Hanging out with my friends more. Just trying to be myself again. Like towards the end of the last week or so, I started slipping again. And my coworker Brian, he saw that on Saturday. And, I just usually when he'd ask me like how I was doing, I would say I was fine. But, I told him how I felt. I told him everything that I've been going through, and he was very understanding and very supportive. And a lot of people, I have so many people that are understanding and supportive of me, and I don't want to feel like I'm crazy. I know I'm not crazy. I know it just takes being able to open up and talk about it, and hopefully helping other people along the way to feel more comfortable doing the same as well. And it's just been very hard for me, and I'm still recovering every day. I started writing every day at the end of the night, and that helps a lot. And rather than writing about focusing on the negative stuff, or like, when I first started writing, I was writing about, my paranoia and my panic attacks, and that wasn't, not that it wasn't helping, because like it helps to see visually, like, this is what I know is triggering me, or this is what I know is the cause of this. And, focusing too much energy on that, I find like it's okay to acknowledge that, accept that, and be able to work from that and let everybody else know, so that if you ever fall into that state and you start slipping and you start feeling helpless, the people around you can help you. I started just writing about stuff that I'm entertained by, or so this past Monday I wrote about the 25th anniversary of Raw, because that was comforting to me. That's something that brings me a lot of joy, and not just a distraction, but something I'm very passionate about, something that makes me me. And it's just a step. It's just a step, and going from there, and the show helps, and my friends help. And I like to help a lot of people, and not being able to help myself once in a while is really tough. So I want to start helping myself a little bit more when I need to help myself. So that's all I have to say for this episode. Moving forward, we're going to go back to the bi-weekly schedule every other Sunday. We don't have any viewer fan mail ready for this week, which is okay. But please, if you're not already subscribed to DBW Universe on YouTube, please head over there and subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at DBW Universe, and follow us on Facebook at DBW Universe. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook at David Caskey. You can definitely swipe right to me on Tinder at David Caskey, and it feels really good to be able to be myself and be funny again and make jokes out of shitty, awful situations, because that's really what I'm best at. And I lost my mind for a while there, and fuck it, like, I need to be able to look back on that and make a joke out of it, and that's a coping skill that I have. And whether or not you people find it funny, or if you're going through something similar and you find it funny, I'll try and be as understanding for you as possible and help you out anyway. But for me, my coping skills is being funny, entertaining people, and making people laugh and making myself laugh. So I'm going to keep trying to do that. And thank you all for sticking with me. Sorry for the delay in the episode, but I had to take care of myself for a little bit. Thank you, Zach and Kenny, for being here and being a part of this channel with me and helping me grow as a person, and hopefully growing with this channel as the year goes on. I know you've been talking about growth and doing more shows, and I don't know, I just haven't been ready yet. It takes time. We'll get there. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.